And go on. Okay, so good morning. Today we're still talking about solving quadratic equations, but we're talking about it with a new method. We're talking about it with graphing. Okay, so what we did last week and the week before was factoring. Now, factoring, as a lot of y'all saw, it can be kind of tricky. There's a lot of steps and there's a lot of places you can mess up. Okay, and it takes some time. So what we're doing today is we're doing the same thing. Like we're still solving quadratic equations, but we're doing it by graphing. And I personally think it's a lot easier and it's a lot faster. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do it on the online calculator, so you can just kind of copy me on the assignment. Okay, so let me share my screen. Desktop. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So when we're solving quadratic equations, let me put a little title at the top. So when we're solving quadratic equations by graphing, okay, there are three different, I guess, things that could happen, three different scenarios, okay? One scenario, like we've talked about all these, one scenario is the quadratic has two solutions, okay? The second scenario is it has one solution. And then the final scenario is zero solution. Okay, so there's three options that could happen. And I'm going to show you what all those look like. Okay, just like, I mean, you should have seen them all, but I'll show you again. So first example, right? If I have x squared plus 4x minus 21, okay, let's say I have that, right? So let's zoom out so we can get the full effect. Okay, so I have x squared plus 4x minus 21. Okay, so if you remember from last week, I told you it had to have the equal 0, right? So if I put equal 0, you see how this kind of happens when I get two vertical lines, okay? We'll talk about that later, but as for using this type of graphing calculator, I don't want you to put the equal 0, okay? I don't want you to put that. So I want you to, I guess, kind of like delete that and just leave it like this, the x squared plus 4x minus 21, okay? So it has a curve, so it has a quadratic type of parabola, okay? And I'll get to why that's important later, okay? So for now, I have x squared plus 4x minus 21, and I want to solve. So I'm looking for solution, okay? Now, if y'all remember, solutions are where my graph crosses the x-axis, okay? So the x-axis is the axis that goes left to right, okay? So I can put a little text box there. So that's the x-axis, okay? That's this thing right here. Can I move this? I can. X-axis, okay? So I am looking for where my graph, right, my parabola crosses the x-axis, and those are my solutions, okay? So if I look, if I'm going across the x-axis, boom, it crosses once, boom, it crosses again. That is two solutions, okay? So this parabola right here has two solutions, and we'll get to finding those in the next examples. So it has two solutions. I spelled that wrong. Two solutions because the parabola, right, the quadratic, crosses the x-axis 2 times. That's it. It crosses it 2 times, two solutions. Easy, right? It's a lot easier than factoring. Okay. So that's the first example. So let me clear all this stuff. And let's go to the second one. So second example, let's say I have x squared plus 2x plus 1, okay? And then remember, normally when it's written on paper, it's going to say equals 0. See how it looks like a vertical line? We'll get to that. Do not put that equals 0 when you're graphing it, okay? So I want you to just do this, x squared plus 2x plus 1, okay? So remember, my x-axis, it's still right here. It's the horizontal line. And I'm going to look. I'm going to go from left to right. So I see that, boom, my graph touches the x-axis one time. It doesn't even cross it. It just touches it one time. So it comes down and it touches the x-axis and goes back up, okay? So that means that this quadratic right here has one solution. Let's make a text box. There we go. One solution because the parabola touches the x-axis one time, okay? Easy, right? It touches it one time, it has one solution. That's it. That's all you got to do. Okay. Now, last example. Hopefully you can kind of see where this is going. Last example is x squared plus 2x plus 10. Okay. So again, right, let me make my text box. Let me label my axes. So that's my x axis, right? So just looking, it's easy. Does my graph, my parabola, ever touch the x-axis? No. So obviously, this one has no solutions. Put a text box. There we go. No solution, because the parabola never, make that capital, never touches or crosses the x-axis. Okay, it's that easy. If it never touches it, it's way up here. We can even zoom out and see it. Nope, can't do that. Let me get rid of that. There we go. There, you can even zoom out. Oh, the x-axis. Oh well. Okay. Anyway, so my graph never touches the x-axis. The x-axis is way down here. It's that bold horizontal line. So if it never touches it, no solution. That's it. It is that easy. Okay. Now let's go back and look at some more examples, and I'm going to show you how we actually find the solution. Okay. It's honestly just as easy. So let's clear those drawings and go to the next example. Okay, here we go. So I have x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0, right? So again, I get these two vertical lines. I don't want that. That's not what I want to look at right now. So I'm going to backspace the equal 0, and I'm going to leave it just like this with the parabola, okay? So just looking at this, let me zoom in a little bit. So just looking at this, right? Looking at my x-axis, we can even label it. I can make it blue. So if I have my x-axis, okay, how many times does my graph cross the x-axis? Well, if I look, it crosses it 2 times. Let me get it here. There we go. It crosses it 1, 2 times. Okay, so automatically I can go and I can write, I have 2 solutions. Okay, I have 2 solutions. Now, those solutions are, so all you have to do is highlight over these gray dots. That's the cool part about Desmos, is it does all the work for you. So my solutions are 3, 0. Okay, so what that means is, since my solution is 3, 0, let me kind of write that over here. There we go. So my solutions are 3, 0. Okay, but that's not, if you remember from last week, that's not how we wrote the solutions. We wrote them as x equals some number. Okay, so if you just look at this, the answer is going to be not 3, 0, but x equals 3, right? So the solutions are x equals 3, and if I go look at this one, 5, 0. So we would say that as what? We would say that as x equals 5. So those are my 2 solutions. X equals 3 and x equals 5, because I have 3, 0 and 5, 0. They all see how easy that is. You don't have to factor. You don't have to do like set equals to 0. None of that. Okay. All you're doing is typing this into the graph, finding where it crosses the x-axis. Boom. Those are your solutions. Okay. Does that make sense? I really hope that it's a lot easier than the factoring thing. Okay. And again, I'm going to kind of show you where the 0 comes in, the equals 0 part. Okay. So if I was to leave the x equals 0, right? Watch where those lines are. Equals 0, right? Now look. 3, 0 and 5, 0. If you leave it as equals 0, it automatically tells you where the solutions are. Okay. Now, if you want to do that and it helps you solve it, fine. But if you like seeing the curve of the parabola, I would just leave it like this. Okay, because then it looks kind of familiar, because it's what we've been working with for the past month. Okay, but this is kind of an easy way to kind of check your answers. Just put equals 0, and if you get x equals 3, x equals 5, you know you did it right. Okay, I hope that kind of makes sense. Let's get out of that one and let's go to another example. Rolling along. Let's go to 2x squared minus 12x plus 18. And again, I'm not putting 0. Okay, so this one, let me put my x-axis, so x-axis down here, okay? And now I look, so I go across my x-axis, boom, it looks like I have one solution at 3, 0, okay? So we can go write a text box. So I have one, I can't click text boxes. There we go. One solution, and the solution is at, so the solution is, if it's at 3, 0, that means my solution is x equals 3. That's it. We're done, right? I have one solution. The solution is x equals 3. That's it. No factoring, no nothing. That's my answer, okay? And then if you wanted to check your answer, remember what I told you to do? Come here, put equals 0. It is at 3. So we did it right. It took me like 10 seconds to do, okay? So that's what I'm hoping. This way should be a lot easier for y'all than the factoring way, okay? And now let's go to my almost last example. I got 2 more. All right, here we go. Let's do 2x squared. Oh, that's weird. There we go. 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. Okay. So again, hopefully y'all can kind of see right off the bat what this one is. So we're gonna put x-axis down here. So if I look, does my parabola ever cross the x-axis or even touch it? No, it doesn't, right? So I can say there is no solution. Okay, and that's it. You don't have to go any further. You don't have to explain yourself or anything like that, unless they ask you to explain it. But I mean, you don't have to find any solution because there is no solution. Okay, and now if I was to put equals 0, see what happens? It's gone because there is no solution. So there can't be a vertical line because there isn't one. See that? So equals 0, nothing comes up. Okay, that's because there is no solution. Hope that makes sense. Okay, now let's go to our last example. Let me clear all this stuff and go to the last one. So this last one is kind of will set us up for the next video I'm going to show you. So it's x squared plus x minus 4. Perfect. Okay, so let's look at this one. Let's do, I guess yellow. Okay, so x-axis. Oh, that's really bright. You can barely see that. Oh, well. So x-axis, right? So just looking at this right off the bat, we can tell that we have 2 solutions, right? You can see that. 1, 2. So I have 2 solutions. Okay, but that's kind of where the easiness kind of goes, because look at my solutions, right? Negative 2.562, 1.562. Those are not like good numbers. Those aren't nice numbers, okay? Those are really, really nasty numbers and honestly not accurate numbers, okay? They're estimates basically. So what we want, what we always try to get in these solutions are exact answers. Okay, so like we've got answers like 3, 5, -2, even 1/2, 3/4. Those are exact answers. So these, what we have to do is we have to do another method to find the exact answer. Okay, and that's what we'll get to later on in the week. Okay, but I just want to know, I just want to try to tell you, these are not, I guess, proper answers. Those are estimates. So eventually we will have to do another step to find those exact answers for those kind of weird problems. Okay, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Okay, but yeah, that's it for now. You're gonna have an assignment tomorrow over, you know, if there's 1 solution, 2 solutions, 0 solutions, that kind of stuff. You should have done something similar in Miss Medelis' class if you have that class, if you have her. And you're gonna have in the same assignment, it's gonna be what are the solutions. Okay, so you don't have to factor, and if you like factoring, go ahead and factor. That's fine by me. But if you like just using the graph, like using Desmos or GeoGebra or whatever, use that. That's fine. As long as you can find the solutions, that's really what I care about. Okay. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions, just let me know. And that's about it. Y'all stay safe. Have a good day.